This is Lester Crest, the mastermind behind most of our GTA heists. But if you clicked on this video, then you already know this. What you might not know though is that during the Agents of Sabotage DLC released yesterday, we got a confirmation about Lester being alive. But where is he now? Will we see him in GTA 6? Or is he now officially retired and will never come back to help us again? Well, for all of these questions and many more, we finally have the answers in this documentary. Yeah, so like I already mentioned at the beginning, yesterday with the Agents of Sabotage DLC, we got a hint about Lester Crest himself. After the first file completion, Lester sent us an email saying that he has bottomless margarita on one hand and a receipt of the old garment factory on the other. What's especially interesting is that he added a picture of himself and Georgiana at the end of the email. So this basically confirms my prediction I made about Lester in a recent documentary, that by the way I really encourage you to check out to get a better understanding about what exactly we are talking about. There I predicted that Lester had retired alongside Georgiana and they are now living a free lifestyle. Now some of you might think that why is this Lester story even that big? Well, it might not feel like it, but it has been 5 years since we were last in touch with Lester. That's right, all of the heists we did with Lester started in 2013 with the GTA 5 storyline, but also the online heists updates that in real life released in 2015, but in the GTA storyline they were actually happening in 2013. Then in 2017 we literally saved the world with Lester and the IAA from Avon Hertz. And then finally in 2019, when Lester already had thought he retired, we did one last casino heist with him, which was heavily influenced by the fact that Lester seemed to have feelings against Georgiana. And until yesterday, we hadn't have any confirmation about what Lester had been up to for the last 5 years. But to be honest, Lester's retirement and his picture with Georgiana didn't come as a surprise to anyone. But the real question is, where is Lester actually residing nowadays? On the picture we can see that Lester and Georgiana are sailing somewhere on the sea, but that doesn't give us any further clues about where exactly is this picture taken, since half the cities in the US are along the coastline. I am sure that a lot of you guys are confident that Lester's retirement has something to do with the GTA 6 action next year, where he might come out of retirement again. It could be possible that Lester and Georgiana have already moved to Vice City and the state of Leonida and are waiting for us there to start some new criminal activities. And in some ways it makes sense, right? We all know that our online character will be moving over to Vice City in 2025 to start a new chapter in his criminal career. As Lester has retired, Vice City also seems like a perfect place to spend your free time, with the long beaches, the vibrant party life, immaculate nature, flamingos, the atmosphere and everything, it's all there. But although at first sight Vice City seems to be the answer, then I have some strong suspicion that we will not actually see Lester in Vice City or in GTA 6 as a whole. And there are a few very big reasons for this. Firstly, Lester seems to be retired and not searching for any new opportunities to make money. As he himself said in 2019, he has more money than he could possibly ever spend.
Whatever you want from me, whatever this big new job is, I'm out, okay? I'm done. I already took every decent score in the state. I cleaned out the Union Depository. I took down the IAA and the FIB. I rang the bell on half the Boss Act 500 CEOs. I have more money than I could ever spend. Okay, so that's it.
And not only does Lester have money, but Georgiana herself is the vice president of Cheng Holdings, a family business that alongside many other things has owned the Diamond Casino and Resort, and which seems to be a $1 billion company. So in this context, there is no reason for Lester to choose Vice City as his next home. And to add to this, to our knowledge, Lester doesn't have any connections in Vice City whatsoever. whatsoever. As we know, Lester was born and started his criminal career in the Midwest. There he eventually met Michael and Trevor, but after the failed North Yankton heist in 2004, Lester cut contacts with the criminal crew and moved over to Los Santos. Now, to be honest, even then, Lester didn't really have any contacts in Los Santos, but his move to LS was motivated by the Union Depository. It was his dream from the childhood to eventually rob the Union Depository in Los Santos, which he managed to do so in 2013 with the GTA 5 main characters. But nowadays, Lester doesn't have such motivation to move to Vice City. Neither does he have connections in Vice, but rather just in the Midwest, LS, and quite weirdly, Liberty City. Yeah, that's right, Liberty City, the city of dreams, where everything is possible. How does Lester have connections in Liberty City? We don't really know for sure, but we know that he is familiar with the Liberty City crime scene, as in 2013 he mentioned an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City.
Oh, we're gonna need a crew. I can round up some of the old guys.
There are no old guys. Moses, ironically, he found Jesus. All those Irish crazies, they mostly just disappeared. That crew from the south, they all went down. There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
Obviously, the person he mentioned was Nico Bellic, the main character in GTA 4, making moves in Liberty City. Although, at least to our knowledge, Lester has never himself been active in LC, but there is another connection between LC and Lester, and that's his girlfriend Georgiana. As we know, Georgiana is from China, but as she mentioned in 2013, she has studied in the Vespucci University.
Yeah, ni hao.
I did my undergrad in London, my master's in Vespucci, Mr. Crest. You can speak English. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
And no, Vespucci University is not some university on the beaches of Los Santos where you can study bodybuilding or suntanning. Vespucci University is a university in Liberty City that seems to be a world-renowned academic institution if Georgiana chose to study there. And since she studied in Liberty City, then it is pretty much certain that she also has a lot of connections in the area. Liberty City can pretty much also be considered the most influential city in the world, even a world capital, so to speak. So where else should you move if you have infinite money than LC? But even with Liberty City, for me the question arises that why would Lester move there? And to be honest, what motivation does Lester have to move anywhere? It is still actually possible that Lester hasn't really left Los Santos and is living his retirement to the fullest in the sunny state of San Andreas. We know that Lester moved to Los Santos sometime between 2005 and 2011. That means he has lived there for almost 20 years now. Although he completed his Union Depository dream 11 years ago, then he has had no real reason to move out of San Andreas. Even after 2014, Lester stayed in Los Santos to complete missions with our online character. And the question is, why should he move now that he has lived there for so long? Well, yeah, Lester might still be in Los Santos, but there's one thing that this theory doesn't explain. Why would Lester then sell his old garment factory to us? If he is still living in Los Santos, then he should have no reason to sell his assets, as he has tons of money anyway. And so the final place in the US where I would see Lester moving is where he came from, which would be the Midwest. And what other place in the Midwest to live in than Chicago? Although Chicago has never been in Grand Theft Auto universe, then some people have predicted Chicago to be Carcer City. Carcer City was also the place where Michael completed his very first robbery.
Mikey, bro, what was your first bank score?
88, outskirts of Carcer City. Took a small franchise for 10G. Yeah, things were easier back then.
Yeah, 25 years ago. Jesus!
Most likely Carcer City is not actually Chicago, since it has been described as being located on the outskirts of Liberty City. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't consider Chicago to be on the outskirts of New York City. But maybe we should not look into only the United States. Would it be possible that Lester has left the US altogether? Well, we know that Georgiana Cheng is from China, so obviously China would be one of the first guesses. Well, China itself doesn't also in reality seem likely, as the Cheng family doesn't actually have great relations with the Chinese government, as suggested in the Diamond Casino actions in 2019.
The Chengs are considered respectable businessmen.
They're not. The Chinese government cannot stand them.
I know, but they pay me to say that.
The Cheng family is nowadays controlled by Wei Cheng's brother, who lives in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is theoretically part of China, but in reality is quite self-controlled and is an autonomous region. So this could also be one place Lester is residing. And the final guess for me would be London, as Georgiana mentioned in 2019 that she had studied there during her undergrad years.
I did my undergrad in London, my master's in Vespucci, Mr. Crest. You can speak English. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So now, we have looked at a lot of different cities where Lester might be residing in. In the United States, these would be our current home Los Santos, our home from 2025 Vice City, the biggest city in the US aka Liberty City, and a city near Lester's childhood home, Chicago, which really doesn't have a corresponding city in the GTA timeline. And outside of the US, our guesses are China, Hong Kong, and London. Now, I personally don't ever see Lester living anywhere else but the US, so I would count the last three out right away. As Lester doesn't seem to have any connections in Vice City, then sadly I don't see him operating with us in GTA 6 as well. Now, the last remaining cities are Liberty City, Chicago, and Los Santos. But as Lester has sold his assets in Los Santos to us, I don't see him staying in the city. And so my last guess would be Liberty City, as both Lester and Georgiana have connections there. Plus, it is the most influential city in the world. Maybe also Chicago, but for that to be a reality, Chicago should have a GTA version of itself. But I guess we really have to wait until GTA 6 to see if my prediction will be the reality, and we will not see Lester in the Vice City action. Of course, my prediction might be completely wrong, and I would myself also hope that, since I would love to see Lester in the next GTA title. But anyways, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to also check out my other documentaries about the GTA universe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.